Ich, ni, san.
Well, that was fun. We are here doing some introduction to Judo today, and this is the beginning of a technique known as the break fall. It's actually something that you could join us with if you want to. All you need to do is lie down on the floor, move some furniture aside if you want to, make sure that there's nothing nearby that you'll hit when you hit the ground here, and come and join us. Our sensei, Akira, is going to take us through some basic techniques. So, here we go.
Everyone ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Next time what we're going to do is whenever we break the fall, we want you to lift your head up. And audience, I want you to make sure that you visualize the actual belt in this area here, okay, or the waistline. So when I say ichi, when I count on 1, I want you to lift your head up and keep your hands on the floor. Ready, set, cross your arms in the front. Ready, ichi. Lift your head up, look at your belt line. Ready, set, and when you hit the floor, I want you to look at the belt line. Ready, set, ni. Good. San, shi, go, rok. Good. Now from here, the next progression, what we're going to do is when we actually hit the ground, our feet are going to come up just like this, in this fashion. Okay. And when I set to the second count, we put our feet down again. Okay. Once again, the first count, your feet are going to come up in this fashion here.
And by the way, this hit is fairly substantial, but not so much that you're going to bruise something. It's a nice solid hit.
It is.
Right?
We call this ukemi, and also it's used to break someone's momentum.
Right.
Okay. Ready? And it's going to look just like this here. As I go down here, just stay in this position, and from here, you're coming back up again. Ready, set? Let's give that a go. Ready, ichi, ni, san, shi, go. Good. Now from there, we're going to sit up. Since this is a roll, we're going to start to roll. Okay. What I want you guys to do basically is sit back and roll on your spine, just like this. In this position, I want you to roll on your spine and come back up again. Let's do this 5 times.
Take your time, all the time in the world to do this.
Remember, the main points here, keeping your eyes on your waist. If you have a belt, keep your eyes on your belt. Ready, set?
Yes, sir.
No slapping at all. All we're doing is rolling. Ichi. And coming back up again. Good. Ni. Good. San. Good. Amy, how does that feel?
Fine.
Great.
That's good.
Doing a great job. She. Okay, David Dorian, how does that feel?
Feels terrific.
Awesome. Ready?
Nice and slow. I don't have to rush to do this. I just let myself roll back.
And go. Good. Now what we're going to do is incorporate the break fall. As we actually roll on the ground, we're actually going to spread our hands out, hit the mat, making sure that our eyes are constantly looking at the belt and our feet are in an upper position. Ready? Ichi. Great. Okay. 2 counts. Ready? Ni. Good. San. Good. Okay. Now, the next few times, what I want you to do is hold that end position just a bit longer. Okay. On the second count, we're going to have you come back up in a seated position. Ready? Ichi. Now, as you can see here, David Dorian's feet, his knees are bent, which is great. His arms should be at a 45-degree angle while keeping the back of his neck away from the floor. Ready? Knee up. Ichi. Knee up. Now we're going to keep the hands on the floor just for point of reference. Ready? Ichi. Good. And right in this area, Amy as well. Her knees are bent, which is great. And she's keeping her hands on the floor for point of reference. Ready? Up. Okay. And the last one. San. Great. Up. Great.
I think that was my best one yet.
I think it was.
That's the beginning of an art known as Judo. We're going to do a whole lot more of this. So we'll be right back with another one. One of the most common self-defense scenarios is if somebody attacks you by grabbing your shirt collar or your jacket. What do you do then? How do you address that? How do you defend yourself? Well, today we're going to look at a martial art which is all about in-close, personal, grappling kind of techniques. And this is the martial art known as Judo, which actually traditionally means, in translating it from Japanese, as the soft way, the gentle art. And yet, it can be anything but gentle in its application. Judo is historically from Japan. It was developed in the late 19th century, around the 1870s, when Japan was going through a complete cultural shift from the old samurai martial code into a new, more modern era. And Judo is an example of that modernization. It focuses a lot on the development of the character as well as the development of your physical techniques. So there's a lot of the tradition that we've learned about. There's a lot of respect and bowing that takes place in Judo. But most of all, it's about learning to make your body soft and pliable. We have Sensei Akira Fukuda, who has been studying Judo for 25 years. Third-degree black belt in Kodokan Judo, black belt in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and the head coach of the USA Olympic Karate Team. Now, there's a lot of rolling and throwing in Judo because, as you might imagine, in our first scenario, if somebody grabs you by the shirt, if grabs you by the collar, they want to drag you away or throw you down or control you in some way, and we're going to turn the tables on them and control them in another way. So we're going to show how you would eventually take a person to the ground through a throw. This is what Judo is all about. But don't worry, you're not going to get thrown. We're actually going to take you to the preparation for those kinds of throws. So join us in these exercises. Sensei Fukuda is going to come up and take us through the basics of rolling and falling, and then how we play Judo. So join us for those exercises. Before anybody hits the floor in Judo, they have to learn how to stop their momentum. The force of gravity is powerful, and when you're thrown, when you're tossed, you hit the floor with all of that force, your body weight plus the power of gravity. So everybody begins in Judo training by learning how to break that fall, how to stop that momentum, how to protect the body from the force of the floor coming up to meet you. And so we're going to begin with something known as an ukemi, which literally means to break the fall. Akira is going to be leading Amy Maxwell. Amy is joining us today as part of our training group here. She is what's known as an uke, the receiver of the action. And the two of them are going to demonstrate the warm-up techniques and then the technique of breaking your fall. Akira?
You ready? Ready. Okay. Everyone ready there? Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Keep your hands up this way here and your feet extended. The main thing is keeping your chin down. Whenever I fall backward, I want to roll in the curvature of my back. This way, I want to keep my eyes looking straight at my belt. Okay. If not, your belly button or waist will do. Okay. And from here, it looks like this. As I start to fall over, I want to cross my body and plant my hands at a 45-degree angle. Okay. We'll go 3 times. Ready? Ichi. And up again. Okay. Make sure that your feet go up and also your head keeps tucked. Ready? Ni. San. Good. Okay. How about 3 more times? Ready? Ichi. Ni. And san. Okay. And another way to test this, if you have a chance, Amy, could you put your feet out, please? Okay, good. Is a lot of times what you can do is grab the shoulder and from there, pull back, increasing the momentum and the forces that's applied to this roll. When she gets more advanced, she can actually hit the floor and break the momentum. Please watch here. Ni. San. And shi. Great. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Ready.
Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to start to do the second step. We're going to elevate the fall from the knees. Actually, before we do that, we're going to be in a squatting position, but let's warm up our knees, okay? Let's get in this position here. And why don't we stretch back and up again. Ready? Stretch back again and up again. Let's do 2 more times. Stretch back again and up again. Ready? Stretch back again and up again. Okay, Now from here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna stay in this position here, kneeling position, the same position as we had prior to this. Okay. And instead of falling straight to your back, you're actually gonna go and hit your sacrum area and then roll on the lumbar, thoracic area, and go to the cervical area, okay? Now from here, as I say ichi, I wanna make sure I do the transition really nice and smoothly. Here, and come back up again. Now when you come back again, go to the number 1 position and adjust yourself once again and get to the kneeling position. Okay? Let's try this about 3 times. Okay, ready, set, ichi. Get to this position once again. Knee. One more time. San. Okay. The same thing applies with the last ukemi. We can put external forces to make sure and increase the actual momentum in this. Let's try to test that out. Okay. Now from here, what I'm gonna do is grab Amy here on the side of her shoulder. I'm gonna get out of the way so she can actually perform an ukemi. Before we do this, wanna make sure that your arms are straight. There we go. And your chin is tucked in. Ready? Ichi. Good. One more time. Okay. One of the key points are here, Amy, if you can look towards that wall over there and turn your body as well. Good. Okay. And get in that kneeling position. Okay. One of the key points here is making sure that your hips are actually hitting the ground first. Once you do that, you can use a curvature of your spine. Okay? Watch right here as I demonstrate. From here, 1, this position, I want to make sure this hits 1, and then I roll on my spine. This position, I want to make sure this hits 1. Ready? Ready for this? Ready. Chin down. Ichi. Perfect. Okay, let's try 2 more times. Now apply external forces. Knee. Good. One more time. San. Perfect. Good. And why don't we stand up there? Since we're covering 3 different levels of ukemis, the first one is on the ground. Second one is actually mid-level, which is from the kneeling position. The third one obviously comes from a standing position. Standing position is quite simple. A lot of people, when they do this ukemi, they want to attempt the ukemi from this height. What we want to do is break down the actual distance from the floor by going to this position, to a number 2 position, and then finally, number 1. This way here, the transition from standing, kneeling, and actually falling again becomes a lot shorter. We can also dictate the speed of gravity that's applied by preventing the natural forces by decelerating the actual action. Ready? Let's try this. We're gonna break this down in 3 counts, okay? The first count is here, ichi, ni, and san. And when you stand up, try to lean on this side here. Now from here, protect yourself from any oncoming opponents coming to you. Stand up this way. This foot here goes in the back, and we can stand back up again, okay? In a protective fashion, okay? Ready? We call this a technical stand-up. Ready? From here. 3 counts once again. 1, ichi, ni, and san. Once again, go to the side, protect yourself at all times, pulse back up, and from here, this front leg is gonna swing towards the back with a technical stand-up. Okay. And the last one, ready? Ichi, ni, and san. Go to the side, pulse back up, and up this way here. Good. One of the things that we have to be careful of, Amy, could you get into the seated position once again with your legs facing forward? Good. The main thing is, when she starts to fall backward, what we're trying to prevent here is her bracing. Once she braces with the floor just like this, it can actually result in damage in the elbow, wrist, or shoulder. We want to make sure that the elbows are close to the body. Once again, let's try this fall again. Let's do a quick review. This is the number one position. Ready? Ichi. Good. Now we go to the number two position again. Now the number two position, remember, we're increasing our height just a bit. And from here, as we fall down, we want to keep those elbows in so we prevent this from happening. Ready? Let's do this together. Ready? Knee. Okay, now from here, we're going to go to the number three position. And from this position. Okay, ready, set, 3 counts. 1, 2, and 3. Good. Now from here, the technical stand-up. Hands up for a guard. Post up. Legs up. And we're up. Good job.
Very good job. Wonderful job. Thank you, Akira.
You're welcome.
Interesting, as I'm watching this, the question still arises, so what's with hitting the floor? Well, you'll have to imagine that some part of your body is going to be absorbing the forces of the impact. Is it going to be your hips? Is it going to be your spine? Or how about your hands and your forearms, which might be a little bit more strong than some other parts of the body? From a very practical point of view, the number one cause of early mortality among people over the age of 65 is actually falling. Falling, which leads to broken bones, which may lead to a long recovery period during which time the immune system and the recovery system is extremely compromised. So learning something like a basic break fall might actually save your life or the life of a loved one. It's a great reason to take up a little bit of judo. It's also a great self-defense technique. And in our next segment, we're going to learn the next progression from these basic ukemis. What do you do now that you've gotten on the ground? Or are there other exercises that will take you to the ground in a safe way? All that's coming up in just a moment.
Hey.
So we have to see how judo actually works. If you're going to put those rolls and those break falls into context, you need to see why they come up in the first place. So let's do some throwing, right?
This side.
Yep.
Good job.
As you can see, you can never predict what part of your body is actually going to hit the ground first. So even though we've done a good job in preparing with the back break fall, you can't always be certain that you're going to land on your hips first and then roll to your back. You might roll to your side. You might roll to the front. You never know. In real life, it's the same way. If you trip over the curb or if somebody bumps into you, you never know how you're going to hit the ground. So we train to be prepared to hit and land in any direction. So Sensei Fukuda is going to take us into another series of break falls that teach us about how to land in different positions. Sensei?
Everyone ready for the front roll? We're going to actually perform this roll. The main purpose of this is anything that's moving forward in a forward direction, we can actually break the fall. A good example is, Amy, if you don't mind, on your knees, please, right over here in this area. Good. And could you please bend over? There we go, in this position. And settle down just a bit here. And cover your head, cover your neck here. There we go. In this position here, let's say if I'm walking and I trip, I can stand back up again. This is the type of fall that we're going to actually use, the front fall. Not from this height, per se, but we're going to get started with this, okay? Fantastic. Okay. Let's position ourselves. Number one, let's get on the ground. Okay, good. And we're going to start from the kneeling position, okay? And from here, we're going to put one hand on the ground. Now, the same hand and the same leg is actually going to go back to this position here. And we're going to shuffle this arm through. With the legs, we're actually going to rotate and we're going to actually roll on the shoulder. And the leg comes out, the knee is up, hand is on the belt, and you hit the ground in this position. Okay, once again. Okay. Actually, this is a good chance for an action cam. As we can see, I'm in a kneeling position here. Now, the hand that's out should be about the same line as your knee. I want to take the opposite hand there and shove it through the hole there. making sure that your chin is tucked in. Okay. From here, I want to make sure my feet go up and I land in this position here. The main thing is my lead leg should be slightly bent in a natural position. My other leg here should be bent. My knee should be pointing at a 45-degree angle. If I were to check the actual distance, if I lay it down here, my knees should be lined up together. Another thing here, in addition to this, my hand should be about 2 fists away from my actual knee. The hand that's actually floating, instead of putting it by your chest here, what I want is keeping it on your belt, this area. Now, your chin is always down and looking at your belt. Okay. Amy, I have an idea. Why don't we go through the actual ukemi number 4, which is a side fall position. What we're going to do is going to really emphasize the side position from the roll. This way, when we do the roll, we can actually have a better landing. Okay, let's get started, okay? From here, what we're going to do is we're going to go back in this position and go to the left side. Good. Now, making sure that the left arm is straight, left leg is bent, right knee is bent. Hand is on the actual hip, okay, or the belt. Go here and down. Once again, up and down. Up and down. Great. Okay, technical stand up here. Good. Now from here, let's start the roll. Okay. Remember, what we're doing is we're actually keeping our start point a little lower than normal. Okay, so let's get to our knees. And from here, we get in our 3-point stance as normal. Now from here, we're gonna shove this hand in between. And from here, tuck your shoulder in, and we're gonna start the roll. Ready, set, go. And hit the end point. Okay, once again. Ready? Let's move back a bit. Amy, if you don't mind, why don't I take a look at yours, and then I'll follow through. How's that sound?
Make some corrections.
We can do that. Ready, set, ichi, and ni. Fantastic. Now, remember, your right hand should be on your belt when you land.
Thank you.
Why don't you take a look? I'll show you an example. From here, this position here, and from here, as I roll, my right hand goes right on my belt. Okay, let's try this together. Ready? Ichi and ni. Good. Fantastic. One more time for good luck. Ready?
I need it.
Ready, 3-point stance. And your arm through. And very good. Okay. Now from here, let's continue. You seem to be picking this up pretty well. Good. Okay. Now we're going to bow. Okay. Now the actual combat position in judo is referred to as randori. But what we're going to do is we're going to step in and we're going to grab a lapel and lapel. As you can see here, the lapel is up pretty high. It's not really low. Now from here, with the other hand, you're going to want to grab the elbow or the wrist area. It depends. Sometimes this is a bit better for control. Other times this is better for a good release or control in this direction. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to start walking back and forth. Okay. Just like dancing, we have a lead and we have a follower. Okay. So from here, keep your back straight. I'm going to lead today. Okay. Now we're going to go forward and back. What I'm going to do in order to initiate this motion is instead of just walking this way here, what I'm actually going to do is pull and pull and pull and pull. As I go towards her, I'm actually going to push. I push, 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 and push. Now from here, going sidewards, what I'm going to do is start from a neutral position, and there we go. Manipulate her momentum. And I'm going back the other way. Here. Good. Good. Now, sidewards to the angular positions, I'm going to make sure pull and push. Okay, so watch again. 1 and 2. Once again, if we square off once again here, I'm going to pull and push. Okay, ready? 1 and 2. Good. Before we start any type of throws, we have a concept called kazushi. Kazushi is off-balancing an opponent. whenever we do an off-balancing move, what we want to do and use a push and pull theory. This is something that it's really indicative to Judo. In fact, this is something that we can use in all martial arts, especially with Jiu-Jitsu, karate, and Aikido, and so forth. Okay. Kazushi here. If I want to throw, I want to make sure your weight is going in this direction, so our center of gravity is no longer in the middle. Okay. If I want to go this way, this direction here. Okay. If I like to go backward, this direction here. Good. If I like to go upward here, I go down and I pull up this direction here. Okay. So Kazushi, really, whenever I can dictate your actual upper area or your head, if I can go this direction, your head will go and your body will follow. Once again, Ichi, this direction here, and your body will follow. Okay. I think this is a good time for an action count. Now let's take a look at the grip. When I grab Amy's collar here, I want to make sure that I grab the upper lapel area and I push down right the heel part of my palm. Now she does the same to me. On the opposite arm, what I want to do is actually grab under her elbow or her wrist. I want to start with my fingers wrapping in, and from here, I want to press down right at the palm area, right here, and push down. This way it compromises her balance. All set?
It really kind of looks like a dance, doesn't it? It's because of the partnership between the two people who are practicing Judo together. There's a rhythm to it. There's an agreement between them. In fact, there's a name for each role to be played in this dance. We have a giver and a receiver. The giver is called the tori, and in this case, Sensei was giving, being the person to initiate the action, and Amy was the uke, which means the receiver who was following the action. Now, interestingly, although Judo is definitely a partner sort of martial art, a grappling art, implying that you need another person, you don't always have to have a partner to practice. If you don't have someone who is at your skill level or who is willing to practice with you, you can still practice things like the gripping on the gi by pulling out a coat and hanging it on a hanger, practicing where you'd put your hand on the lapel or down on the sleeve, feeling the texture of the fabric in your hands. Or another option, you could actually take a towel and tie it around the bar in the bathroom and feel how much force you'd actually have to pull on that to make some kind of pull and change on the fabric of the towel. Anyway, just a couple of different ideas about how to practice if you don't have a partner with you. But always practice slowly, practice safely so that you can come back for another training session. There's a lot of action that takes place in the exchange in Judo, in the randori as it's called. A lot of passion, a lot of excitement, a lot of physical strength. And yet it's called the gentle way, the soft art. How do we reconcile this? Well, one of the ways that we reconcile this is in the concept that Sensei had introduced to us called kuzushi, which means to take off balance, to unbalance your opponent. And this is actually a philosophy of not meeting force against force. So in the example of somebody attacking you by grabbing your shirt collar or by, grabbing your shoulders or something, rather than trying to throw them from the ground to the ground from a dead stop, you first begin to move them slightly off center. Then when they're out of balance, then you can apply your throw, then you can apply your control. But this is also a philosophy not just about fighting, but about life itself. We're constantly beset by different challenges that might seem like somebody's gripping us by the throat. Right? That's life does that to us sometimes. But rather than try to meet force against force, instead we move slightly to the left or the right, whether physically or mentally or spiritually. And then once our challenge is off center, then we can apply our tactic, our technique. Then we can try to solve the problem. In this way, we approach life softly, gently, and not force against force. And that is the art of Judo. See a throw.